Welcome back to Superbly Said Advanced English Vocabulary and Phrases. Today, we're actually taking our material straight from a SpeakDuo lesson.
Yeah, specifically from the video called SpeakDuo 1440,
Yeah?
Portrait of Brenda.
Right.
And, before we really get into it, you can go to speakduo.com to meet new people from around the world, like people who are practicing English on video calls to just become more confident with their English speaking abilities.
Yeah, it's a great resource. So we are jumping straight into the idioms today. And this is perfectly tailored for advanced English learners who are, looking to sound a lot more natural in professional and testing environments.
Definitely. Especially because the workplace has this whole, hidden language.
Oh, absolutely. Which brings me to the first section today. It's all about, well, the office politics of perception and deception, like the phrases we use when people just aren't being entirely straightforward.
Right, which happens all the time.
Right. So let's start with this one, to massage the truth.
Yeah. To massage the truth, that basically means to alter or, present facts to make them seem a bit more favorable.
But, isn't that just lying? Like, what's the difference between massaging the truth and outright lying?
Well, there is a nuance there. If we contrast it with outright lying, massaging the truth is like subtle manipulation, whereas a lie is just a complete fabrication from scratch.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so someone might massage the truth by just tweaking a report so the results look more positive. They're using real data, but just highlighting the good stuff to maybe avoid blame.
Right, right.
But honesty is always better if you want to maintain trust. Once people figure out you do this, they don't trust your data anymore.
That makes a lot of sense. So, imagine I'm talking to my boss, right? I might say something like, well, we didn't exactly hit our quarterly targets, but if we massage the truth in the presentation, the board might focus on our user growth instead.
Exactly. You're just shifting the spotlight.
Okay, so that's data. But what about when you're tricking an actual person? Like, not just a spreadsheet, but an individual. That leads to our second idiom, which is to pull a fast one on someone.
Oh, yeah. Pulling a fast one.
Which is very different from, to scam someone.
Yeah, totally. Scamming someone is, that's malicious. It's often criminal.
Right, you're stealing from them.
Exactly. But pulling a fast one on someone, that's often just sly. And, well, sometimes it's even playfully harmless.
Yeah, like if you're answering an IELTS Part 2 speaking prompt, you could talk about a time someone tricked you, right? You could say, my friend pulled a fast one on me by pretending our meeting was canceled, so I ended up arriving really late.
But that's a great example. Or, in a workplace scenario, it's like playing a harmless prank on a new employee, like telling them they have to wear a suit on casual Friday.
Yes, you're just pulling a fast one on them.
But of course, office dynamics aren't always harmless pranks. Sometimes it gets a bit darker.
Right, when the trickery or the criticism feels super targeted, like someone has a vendetta.
Exactly. And that's when we use the phrase, to have it in for someone.
To have it in for someone.
Right. It means someone holds this persistent grudge against you, or they treat you unfairly on purpose.
That sounds awful. But wait, how is that different from just, being a strict manager?
Well, a strict manager just has high standards for everyone. It's across the board. But if someone has it in for you, they make it personal.
Oh, gotcha. So it's like that colleague who always makes several critical comments in meetings, but only when you're presenting.
Exactly. That's a classic sign they have it in for you. And if you're dealing with that, my advice is to just stay super professional and document all your interactions.
Definitely. Keep the receipts, as they say.
Always.
Okay, so that's the interpersonal drama. But let's transition to the actual work phase, like when you're trying to figure out a problem, the investigation phase.
The fun part.
Right. And the perfect phrase here is to suss something out.
Yes, to suss something out.
Which basically means to figure out or analyze a situation by investigating the details.
Yeah, it's a very active process.
Exactly. It's not just taking a wild guess. Taking a wild guess is just intuition, But sussing something out requires an active, careful review of the data.
Right. Like, think about a practical tech example. You might have to suss out why a computer is running slowly, right?
Yeah.
And you investigate, and you discover, oh, there are way too many background programs running.
Right, or sussing out the root cause of a project issue by really reviewing the data carefully.
Yeah. But what happens when that investigation is just completely pointless?
Oh, man, that is the worst. That's when you are on a wild goose chase.
A wild goose chase. Yeah, that phrase perfectly captures it. It's a frustrating or, completely hopeless search for something.
And it's so different from just a difficult search.
Oh, entirely.
Yeah.
Because a difficult search, it eventually yields results. You find the thing. But a wild goose chase is utterly pointless. It's usually based on false premises.
Yeah, like, okay, here's a highly relatable IELTS-style anecdote. Going on a wild goose chase, looking for your passport in the house, tearing everything apart, only to find it was just in your bag the whole time.
I think we've all been there. Or the office equivalent, right? Searching for an hour for a document that someone just moved to a different folder.
Exactly. And honestly, going on a wild goose chase eventually leads to our next phrase because you just have to admit defeat.
Right, you have to throw in the towel.
Throw in the towel. But wait, giving up sounds bad. Is it just taking a quick break?
No. Taking a quick break means you're coming right back to it.
Yeah.
Throwing in the towel means officially giving up on the current strategy after you've put in prolonged effort.
Ah, I see. Like giving up after weeks of unsuccessful attempts to fix something.
Exactly. But, there's a silver lining here that was actually in the source material.
Really? What's that?
Well, sometimes you throw in the towel on a specific approach to a project, right?
Yeah.
And you take a short break, and that actually lets you come back with fresh ideas or a completely new approach entirely.
Oh, wow. I love that. Which actually transitions us beautifully to the third section, the mind at work, sparks of genius and madness.
I like the sound of that.
Yeah. So let's talk about those fresh ideas and specifically memory, like when you need to jog someone's memory.
Right. To jog someone's memory just means to help someone remember something they had forgotten.
So how is that different from memorizing?
Well, memorizing is like learning something brand new, but jogging a memory is simply unlocking a door to information that's already stored in the brain.
Oh, I get it. Like if you use old photos to remember the exact date of an event, or using a joint list to jog your memory so you can recall specific names or dates.
Exactly. A little nudge.
Right. But sometimes, and this is my favorite thing, sometimes ideas don't need their memory jogged at all.
What do you mean?
I mean, sometimes they just appear entirely out of thin air.
Yes, out of thin air.
Meaning they just appear suddenly from nowhere with no obvious cause at all.
Which is the total opposite of a well-thought-out plan.
Totally. A well-thought-out plan takes, weeks of rigorous research. But something out of thin air, that's just spontaneous and sudden.
Right, like an idea coming to you out of thin air during a walk, and you just have to quickly write it down before you forget. Or a perfect solution just materializing during a workplace brainstorming session.
Exactly. It's like magic.
Well, it is. But I will dryly note that sometimes those ideas that come out of thin air are just terrible.
Fair enough. Sometimes they're awful.
Right, and that brings us to behaving in a completely crazy, erratic, or unreasonable way. Or to be off one's rocker.
To be off one's rocker. I love that phrase. But is it just being a bit silly?
No, being silly is playful. Being off one's rocker implies a genuine lapse in reason. Like you're taking an incredibly risky decision without thinking it through.
Okay, so a workplace example would be telling your colleagues you're going to quit your job without having any backup plan whatsoever.
Exactly. That makes everyone wonder if you are off your rocker.
Right. Well, that is quite the journey through office politics and the human mind. So now it is time for the Superbly Said quiz.
Yes. We're going to test your memory on 8 of the phrases we covered today.
I'm ready. I will read the question and the 3 options, option A, option B, and option C, exactly as they are. And then we'll give you a second to think.
It sounds good. Let's do it.
Okay, question 1. The experienced negotiator tried to pull a fast one on the investors, meaning he attempted to.
Quickly finalize the remaining legal paperwork before the absolute corporate deadline.
Aggressively dominate the ongoing conversation to deliberately intimidate the opposing counsel.
Cleverly deceive them regarding the hidden financial liabilities within the contract.
Feel free to pause the podcast here if you need to think about the answer.
And the correct answer is option C. He attempted to cleverly deceive them. Because to pull a fast one on someone means to trick them.
Right, like we mentioned earlier, the harmless prank on a new employee or a friend pretending a meeting was canceled.
Exactly. Okay, question 2. Following 6 months of entirely fruitless negotiations, the union representative decided to throw in the towel, meaning she decided to.
Completely give up and officially admit defeat regarding the stalled discussions.
Aggressively escalate the ongoing conflict by organizing a massive public protest.
Strategically introduce a completely new set of highly controversial bargaining demands.
Feel free to pause the podcast here if you need to think about the answer.
The answer is option A. She decided to completely give up and officially admit defeat. To throw in the towel means to quit after a long effort.
Yeah, remember the example of giving up after unsuccessful attempts and maybe taking a break before trying a new approach.
Absolutely. Moving on to question 3. Tracking down the missing accounting ledger proved to be a complete wild goose chase, indicating it was
A highly dangerous investigative operation requiring specialized corporate security personnel intervention.
an incredibly frustrating, utterly pointless, and ultimately hopeless search for something.
An unexpectedly delightful adventure that heavily fostered essential departmental team building.
Feel free to pause the podcast here if you need to think about the answer.
And the correct answer is option B. A wild goose chase is an incredibly frustrating, utterly pointless, and ultimately hopeless search for something.
Like looking for the passport that was actually in the bag the whole time, or, looking for the document in the wrong folder.
Exactly. All right, question 4. The senior software engineer was finally able to suss out the critical system vulnerability, meaning he was able to
Figure out the complex situation by thoroughly investigating the underlying details.
intentionally ignore the minor issue to rapidly expedite the upcoming launch.
Explicitly delegate the difficult assignment to a significantly more experienced colleague.
Feel free to pause the podcast here if you need to think about the answer.
The answer is option A. To suss out means to figure out the complex situation by thoroughly investigating the underlying details.
Right, just like checking the computer to find the background programs causing it to run slowly.
Spot on. Question 5. The brilliant marketing strategy seemed to materialize entirely out of thin air, suggesting that it
Resulted from several intensive months of rigorous consumer demographic market research.
was blatantly stolen from a highly successful competitor's previous advertising campaign.
Appeared completely suddenly from nowhere, seemingly without any obvious identifiable cause.
Feel free to pause the podcast here if you need to think about the answer.
And it is option C. Coming out of thin air means it appeared completely suddenly from nowhere, seemingly without any obvious identifiable cause.
Like the perfect idea hitting you during a brainstorming session or just getting a random idea on a walk.
Exactly. Okay, question 6. David constantly suspected that his new department supervisor had it in for him, implying he believed his supervisor.
Possessed exceptionally high expectations regarding his overall daily professional workplace performance.
Held a persistent personal grudge and purposely treated him quite unfairly.
Secretly planned to enthusiastically recommend him for a highly prestigious promotion.
Feel free to pause the podcast here if you need to think about the answer.
The correct answer is option B. To feel someone had it in for him means he believed they held a persistent personal grudge and purposely treated him quite unfairly.
Yeah, that's like the coworker making unfair critical comments, which is why we said you need to document all your interactions.
For sure. Okay, almost done. Question 7. In order to successfully secure the vital funding, the startup founder decided to massage the truth, meaning he decided to
Completely fabricate a highly complex and entirely unbelievable corporate financial history.
publicly confess to the numerous severe administrative mistakes he previously committed.
Subtly alter the negative facts to make them appear significantly more favorable.
Feel free to pause the podcast here if you need to think about the answer.
The answer is option C. To massage the truth means to subtly alter the negative facts to make them appear significantly more favorable.
Right, like altering reports to make results look better to avoid blame. But remember, that definitely damages trust.
It really does. Okay, final question. Question 8. When the director proposed completely abandoning their most profitable product line, the board thought he was off his rocker, meaning he was
Behaving in a completely crazy, highly erratic, and entirely unreasonable manner.
secretly operating under immense pressure from a highly aggressive corporate competitor.
Introducing a brilliantly innovative strategy designed to permanently disrupt the industry.
Feel free to pause the podcast here if you need to think about the answer.
And the final answer is option A. To be off his rocker means behaving in a completely crazy, highly erratic, and entirely unreasonable manner.
Just like that really risky decision to quit a job without having any plan in place.
Exactly. And that is the end of the quiz. I hope you guys did well. It's pretty amazing how many idioms we use that revolve around these themes.
It really is. And, I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over today.
Well, please do.
Since our language is just so incredibly rich with idioms describing deception like pulling a fast one or massaging the truth or having it in for someone, what does that actually say about how common these behaviors are in our daily lives?
Wow, that's a really good point.
I mean, language is a mirror, right? So I encourage you to keep your ears open and just notice which of these phrases pop up in your own native language and how they compare to the English ones we talked about today.
That is a fantastic exercise. Well, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into advanced English phrases. Keep practicing, keep listening, and we'll